This is the RC Jet Jog. It is Wednesday morning, April 3rd, 2024, and you are watching episode 3 of MU-2, The Build. What's going on, guys? Jet Jock here. As you can see, we're back in the shop. The MU-2 is progressing behind us, and, well, we got this little strange bird over here, which we're going to explain later on in the episode. But before we get to this episode, we want to apologize that it is taking us so long to get this content out here. It's not for the lack of working on the project. It has not stalled, I promise, guys, and we have so much content to go over with y'all today. It's just we've been so busy. The girls have had rodeos. We've been trying to get the spring garden in the ground. It has just been nuts. In fact, you know what? Let's cut away and we'll show you some footage from their rodeo. There, good. Go. Keep it going. Keep it going.
All the way.
Look at the barrel. There you go. Good job.
Bring him
Good
home.
job.
All the way.
Good job. Keep going. Keep the gas on. Okay. Whoa.
Oh man, we had such a good time, and we are so proud of those girls. They're doing great. Hey, and if y'all enjoyed that footage, we have the whole competition on our other YouTube channel, Flying H Farms. We'll leave the link in the description section down below. Now, we had a lot of comments from our last episode as well. We love y'all's comments. We love hearing from you. And that's why we get really excited every week to dig into the mailbag and respond to some of our favorite comments. So the first one is, if y'all remember last week, we were talking about a guy named Paul, if he was in fact the guy that built the other MU-2. And in fact, right here, he said yes. He is the guy who had the MU-2 at best. It's been flying for a couple of years now. So I went on YouTube just recently, and I can link some of the videos here as well in the description section of his MU-2 flying. And let me tell you, buddy, that is one good looking airplane, and you grease those landings. Kudos to you, especially that St. George footage with all that wind. Wow, that was amazing. Now we have Barry Winslow here. He said, she's looking good, my friend. I think using spoilers was helping with the adverse yaw. And you know what? We'll get more onto that later in the episode, because that's kind of what we have the Super Easy over here for, or the other mystery plane, as we should say. So we'll talk about that later, but he's on to something for sure. Now, Tom Heat Dirks 9997 says, awesome work, coming along nicely. Thanks for the shout out. It's been fun watching the progression. Neat to see somebody who makes it up as they go. Well, yeah, we're definitely doing this on the fly, and it's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. But here's what I wanted to get to with this one. He said, just an idea if you want. I found making a skin template first from paper to help avoid cutting the skin wrong works great. So, and then using masking tape while the skin is actually drying on. Because if you remember last week's episode, we had the D-lam issue on the nose, which we ended up correcting. And I ended up going back and gluing it and using masking tape and letting it actually sit for a while. And that seemed to help for sure. But the template thing helped me big. Because, and we'll talk about it more later in this episode when we actually start talking about the build, but to really get those skin pieces that are in between two panels to actually fit correctly with the correct shaping that you need to put on it, yeah, the template could not have been more valuable. Thanks, Tom, for that advice. Helped out big time, buddy. All right, so moving right along here, we got... Airplane Guy 68 says, do whatever makes you curious. That's the best part of the hobby. Maybe it'll work, maybe it not. but it should work well enough to be controllable. And besides, there's a fine line between a hobby and a mental illness. Go nuts. I tell you what, we definitely got the mental illness side of it, because these are not the only airplanes I have behind us. My whole ceiling in here is covered with airplanes too. Yeah, you definitely lose your mind for sure. And I do agree with him. We should do whatever makes us curious, and I think we'll go with it. I think we're actually going to go with it. And once again, we're going to talk more about why we have the other airplane up here. And let me just give you a spoiler alert, pun intended, of course. This is very relevant, and the other comment about the spoiler is very relevant to what we were doing with this one. Now, finally, Jet Pilot 2626 asked, why the short body? Well, if y'all remember in the first episode, we were actually doing this in honor of my father-in-law. He used to build these back in the San Angelo days, and I gave him the choice. Since I'm doing this for him, what airplane did he want me to build? And he chose the short-bodied Solitaire, which was fine by me. It's less material and less molding, because actually the bigger version had some big bump outs on the sides, so that would have been a lot more modeling on my part. So he made it easy on me. I appreciate it. All right, guys, that's going to just about wrap it up for the comment section. We love hearing from you guys, so please comment away on this episode as we get forward. We love talking to you, and honestly, I love learning from you guys, because y'all have been very helpful indeed. Moving right along, as you heard me say before, we were putting in our spring garden and been doing a lot of work out there. In fact, we'll just show a picture right here of how far we've gone. While we were doing that, we had a special visitor to the farm, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. So check it out. Oh man, I tell you what, I couldn't help but getting goosebumps when I heard all four of those engines roaring over the house. Jeez, that was just so awesome. And he just did a big, lazy circle over the place too. I mean, it's such a weird visitor for our area for sure. Very, very, very rare indeed. So that was just amazing. Really enjoyed that. So if any of you Air Force guys flying that B-1 are out there that flew over and y'all are watching this, we'd love to hear from you. But either way, we really enjoyed the air show for sure. So now let's crack open that mystery here. And why do we have this airplane sitting here? Well, this airplane, the Super Easy, what we went ahead and did is we actually wired it to have only spoilerons to be a test bed for the MU-2. Now, if you guys don't know what spoilerons are, go back to episode 2 of the MU-2 build, and we explain in complete detail what spoilerons are and what makes them different from ailerons. So let's here you can see how it's wired. So we set up the airplane and the radio with dual ailerons, and then we plugged one aileron into the aileron channel and the other aileron into the gear channel. Then we selected each aileron servo from the travel menu, and we zeroed out any downward deflection of the ailerons. I'm confident that this is how we're going to set it up in the MU-2, and it should look something like this. Yeah, so as you can see, we definitely had it wired to where there was no down at all. So, well, I guess without further ado, let's go take it out to the field and we can actually show you whether it worked or not. Here we go.
That was a nice takeoff.
All right, so here we go.
Hey, you're not safe for a dude.
It's actually not bad. It's nowhere near as uncontrollable as I thought it was. Should I do a low pass?
I don't know.
I thought there would be more negative lift. In fact, it almost seems more comfortable.
Look! And a lot faster.
It's, are you getting this, Beluga Girl?
Yep.
I mean, actually, I think it might fly better. I need a little trim. There we go. It actually might be flying better than it did with conventional ailerons. I really like it. You know, a lot of people are saying that it takes away adverse yaw only having spoilerons, and honestly, I see it. I mean, if you look, I'm not yawing all over the sky, and I'm not on the rudder, guys. I'm not on that rudder at all.
Should we do this to all of our airplanes?
What?
Should we do this to all of our
I
airplanes?
don't know. I mean, honestly, this is really nice. I am totally surprised here, guys.
That's not the Corsair.
No, I'm not going to do it to the Corsair.
Doggy girl, give those back. Give them back. Give them back.
Years.
I mean, I think I really do. I think it's actually flying better. I'm enjoying this, guys. I thought this was going to be a little stressful.
Were you trying to land?
No. Doing a really low pass. I wonder how it'll do in the aileron roll. What do you think? You want to try that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Let's get high. I'm getting high up there just in case this thing just like falls out of the sky. Here we go. Not bad.
Ow. The airplane doesn't sound too good.
I was at full throttle.
Here.
Donkey girl, you are not see-through.
Okay.
Oh, she made you miss that low pass?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's try it again. That was a good low pass.
Donkey girl, move. Dude,
I'm even right turning it now.
Let's do airliner.
are you gonna land?
Alright, coming in for another low pass and I'm going to come around and land, okay?
Okay.
Maybe I won't do a handstand flatback. What do you think?
Yeah, do it.
Molly wants you to. Donkey girl wants you to.
Alright, coming in for landing.
Daddy, look at that jet.
I can't look at the jet. I'm flying. Well, that's just because I needed to cut the grass, guys. That was a great proof of concept. I think we're a go for the spoilerons. I'm not even sure. What do you think, Beluga Girl? Do I even need to put any kind of assistance at all? Or do you think it's just good on the spoilerons?
I think it broke its nose.
Nah, I didn't break its nose. It was just because the grass was too long. Guys, we're going to send it back to the shop and give y'all some more information on the airplane. Wow, I was super surprised with that one. I could not believe the fact that that thing actually flew so well. And we wanted to go back to the comments. Remember, I said earlier that we would be fast forwarding to that, saying that the spoilers helped with adverse yaw. And I didn't even touch the rudder, guys. I mean, no rudder at all. And as you could see, it didn't look like it was wanting a fishtail at all in the sky. It looked pretty darn solid. And not to mention, I really do feel like this airplane flew better. Now, I want to thank Airplane Guy 68 for saying do whatever makes me curious, because I was very curious to see how this was going to work, and I was just blown away and pleasantly surprised. So I think we definitely do have a future with this MU-2 getting some spoilerons, and I don't think we're going to make it all that complex. We're going to keep it simple and just have spoilerons and flaps for sure, because it seemed to be very effective. And like I said, once again, the negative tendencies, just in my opinion, were not there. So if there's anything that's wonky about the way the airplane flies, it's going to be on my design, not the spoilerons. So speaking of the MU-2, finally, we have done a lot of work on it. It's been a lot of time-consuming work for sure. So why don't we get y'all caught up with our progress?
We started off our week by fixing the area that decided to unglue itself. Again, thanks Tom for the suggestion with the painter's tape. It worked well. Then we moved on to one of the larger skin panels underneath the fuselage. Yeah, the painter's tape method didn't quite work on this one, and that was just because the foam was too wet for the painter's tape to adhere. So we busted out these pans. They worked well. With all of the conventional sheeting completed, now it was time to figure out how to do the area underneath the vertical stabilizer. We used a different method to complete this tricky spot. We started off by only soaking one side of the foam board. Then Beluga Girl and Donkey Girl removed the paper from the foam. Slits were cut lengthwise, being careful not to actually cut through the paper on the other side. And this allows us to bend the foam in a much more controlled manner over these tighter curves. Later on, all we'll have to do is fill those cracks in with some lightweight spackle and sand it smooth. Anyone hungry for a Depron sandwich? I didn't think so, but this is how we went ahead and built up our nose cone and tail cone. While we had the Depron out, we went ahead and beefed up our landing gear mounts. They're rock solid now. Lastly, we use a steak knife to rough cut the nose cone and tail cone. Now that you're up to date, let's go back to the shop.
All right, now that you're all caught up, as you can see, we really didn't have too many snags this week. It was fairly easy and not many cuss words at all. One thing that we didn't really illustrate on the channel was how we got the twist out of the tail. So obviously we had to put on this other skin panel here. So what we ended up having to do, and it was crazy. I'm so upset that we didn't get a picture of it. But we ended up putting, one of those like clamps that like a squeeze clamp. You squeeze it and Anyway, we put a clamp and hung it on the horizontal stab here, and twisted the rear end of the fuselage. And then we glued the panel on. We let it dry, and then boom, we're back in business. It was completely straight. So, I mean, really, it was a pretty stress-free last couple of weeks here working on this project. Now, let's talk about moving on to the future. So, as you can see, there's a big gap here for the wheel well. So, obviously, I didn't finish the whole skin if y'all want to knock me on it. So, what we're going to end up doing there is we're going to, and the reason we left it blank was because actually we're going to take the skin panel from here and have it go all the way down. But before we can do that, and I haven't done it yet, so we'll cover it next week. I'm going to swing the landing gear and see the clearance and how much we can actually cover, and also look at the real airplane and see scale-wise how much I need to leave and all that good stuff. So we're not rushing it. We want to make sure that we get everything as right as possible. The Depron, as y'all saw towards the end there, we just did a rough carve on it just with a knife. We're going to be sanding it smooth, probably more around the time that we're going to be taking care of, like the edges here, and then our little scallop there over here that we had talked about. So yeah, that's what we're going to have moving forward with those parts. May or may not get to it before we start wing construction. And that's why we put these on last, because that's right, guys, we're ready to move on to the wing. So I hope to start on that for the next episode for sure. Now that we have figured out that spoilerons work, we can definitely start moving that forward. And the reason that we're not closing this up yet or installing electronics like we had mentioned before was just because I want to see how all the wires are going to come together in here before we start adding electronics down here and closing up sections and then having to fish, wires, and that's no fun. So figure make it easy, because I want this to be a really clean setup. I know most of you guys, if y'all flown with me before, y'all know I'm kind of messy with my setup. So I kind of want to change that trend with this project for sure. But so that'll wrap it up for this week. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. We enjoyed hearing from y'all, so keep those comments coming. Please share this video with all of your friends. We would love to get the MU-2 out there a little bit more into the spotlight for sure. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. We will see you next time. Bye.